of thought.
The prophet of thought.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Prophet of Thought series, right here on the old Prophet of Thought series YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why you're here. Tonight, special show for y'all tonight, because y'all know X, likes to mix it up and change gears on y'all from time to time. But tonight we're going to be talking about something that is very, very important. Tonight we're going to be talking about single fatherhood. I know we often talk about, baby mamas and single mothers and all that kind of stuff. But on the other side of that, many times there are children who get caught up in the mix due to their mother's ratchetness, to their mother's whoredom, to their mother's drug use, or just straight up abuse and neglect. So when you have men who really care about their children, they step in and they take those children and raise them themselves. Tonight, we got a very special guest. I know you brothers know this brother, Brother Jay Shine, who is a single father. And I believe he's been a single father for about 12 or 13 years, I believe. I got a lot of respect for this brother. Like I said, I know y'all often hear him, on other people's streams, dropping jewels. But tonight, he's going to be talking about the highs and lows of single fatherhood, the perils and the obstacles of single fatherhood, the court system, the baby mama, he's going to be talking about all of that tonight. And also we're going to get into not too much, but we're going to get into a little bit of statistics too, because believe it or not, statistically, children that are raised by single fathers do way better than children that are raised by single mothers. But I'm pretty sure y'all know that already, so I'm not telling y'all nothing y'all don't already know. But like I said, the brother Jay Shine will be coming on in a few minutes, and we're gonna chop it up, man, and we're gonna talk about this here. I want to thank a few folks, because I did get some donations last week, And I only come on Wednesdays and Thursdays, so those are the only days I can thank y'all. But y'all, if y'all listening, y'all know who y'all are, because like I always say, whenever y'all send me a donation, I make sure I write y'all a little private email and say thank you, and talk shit to you at the same time. So when you send old X a donation, he makes sure that donation goes back right into the T.P.O.T machine. And I always write you a personal email, whether it's 5 of y'all or 500 of y'all. I will sit at this computer and write every single one of you back. You got my promise on that. That's how it is now. That's how it's always going to be. I also want to thank everybody for supporting the channel, supporting the stream. My numbers are up. My viewership is up. My subscriptions are up. So, I really, really appreciate that. And I know it's all because of y'all, because I do this for y'all. I do this to open y'all minds as well as my own. So I do appreciate y'all. I appreciate my audience. I appreciate my subscribers, my supporters, my donators. I appreciate all of y'all. I do, because y'all don't have to take the time out of y'all evening to watch my black ass, but y'all do. So I appreciate the fact that y'all see value in this platform, and I hope that I do, if only a little bit, to a small degree, if I do open your minds. That's it. That's all I've ever wanted to do. I've always did this for one reason, and I do this to open your minds. Let me see who we got in the chat. Let me shout out some folks in the chat. What's up, brother BJ? Simply Deep. Brother Faulkner, what's good? Q Wilson, what's good? Who we got? WOTP, what's good, lady? I see you, Lady Cats. What's going on? Yeah. So I just want y'all to know, man, that I do appreciate y'all, man, and I'll never take y'all for granted. And I appreciate y'all riding on the old T.P.O.T ship. I'm trying to steer it into bigger waters. I have a lot of people on my team that are dedicated to this platform, and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna try to steer it. I'm gonna try to steer it into bigger waters, you know. And like I said, it's growing, and I know it's because of you out there. I know it's because of you. And once again, I want to thank y'all for being part of the T.P.O.T family. And while we wait for Brother Jay Shine, I want to tell y'all, make sure you have your black behinds here tomorrow, because tomorrow, like every Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the Unicorn 4 TLOT, the Ladies of Thought, will be here live and direct. And tomorrow, you know how we usually do a Q&A. Tomorrow, I'm going to have the unicorns throw questions at me. That's right. I'm going to be fielding questions tomorrow, and they're allowed to ask me whatever they want. I don't care what it is. I will answer it, and I will answer it truthfully. So tomorrow is going to be fun. It's going to be wicked tomorrow, because y'all know how X do it. X will go from 1 to 100 just like that. So, tomorrow's going to be a good show. And like I said, they are allowed to ask me whatever they want. So make sure you have your black behinds here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for the Unicorn 4, Lady Ming, Lady Cats, Lady Kendra, and Lady Classic, TLOT, live and direct. And they'll be throwing some questions at X, and X will be answering them in his own special way. But now, the guest of honor has arrived. Brother Jay Shine, what's good, man?
What's good, brother? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. First and foremost, let me thank you for coming on, man. I got a lot of respect for you, brother. And I'm happy that you decided to come on the stream and talk about this tonight. I was just telling the folks, that this is an important topic. I said that often we're always talking about baby mamas and single mothers and things of that nature, but we never ever talk about brothers like yourself who are raising children on their own, the so-called quote unquote baby papa, if you will. We never talk about that. So tonight we are. So I appreciate you coming on. So
Well,
let's get
I
let's
thank you for having me, man. For
oh,
one,
absolutely.
and you're absolutely right. This is something that we need to talk about more often because the rise of single fathers is actually skyrocketing in this country right now. So this is something that nobody's talking about.
Mhm. Well, let's get right into it, brother Jay Shine. Um, first and foremost, how did you end up being a single father raising your child? How did that even take place?
Well, like a lot of brothers out there, I don't claim to be high and mighty, and I made mistakes, and got the wrong woman pregnant. Now, to her credit, and that's not just her fault. I ejaculated in a woman that I knew wasn't stable, and ended up having a child with her. So everything that came after it, I have to take responsibility for. But um, basically, one day, sister told me she was pregnant. I knew she wasn't stable, so I was like, I think it's probably best that the child stay with me. Of course, when her mother and her sister got in her ear, that wasn't a good idea no more. They're looking at the money, and we'll get into all the scandals later that I had to endure. But basically, it didn't. The baby didn't come home with me. It went home with the mom. But in about a year and 4 months later, there was a lot of violence at the mother's house. Cops at the house all the time. I'm getting called at work. Her and her mother screaming at the phone. My daughter's in the middle of it. My daughter's a baby at this time. So I got tired of it, and I basically had a conversation with myself in the mirror because at this point I'm paying her child support and paying for child care. So I moved into a lady's basement to save money, and I'm living in this woman's basement to save money, and it's just basically a room and a bathroom. And I go into the bathroom, I look in the mirror, and I say, "Go get your baby." It was really that simple. And I went over there. The cops was over there. I was still a fly dude at the time, so I had my little drop top. I get over there. They fighting and arguing still, even with the cops there. This is stuff that black women get away with. Men don't get away with this kind of stuff. So they arguing. Now I show up. I'm cussing everybody out. I'm cussing baby mama out. I'm cussing baby mama out. I'm cussing baby mama boyfriend out. And I grab my daughter, grab the bag and stuff, and then I get into a back and forth real quick, but then I leave. And I get in the car. Cop walks up to the car. Cop not really understanding that this is not the time to play with me, but he didn't really want to smoke. He gave me a card and said, "Look, if you have any questions or you need any help, just call me at this number." Good brother. So I leave. My daughter comes back with me to my little apartment. My lease, I can't have a child there, so now I got to get out. So now it just changed my whole arrangement around. And that's basically what happened. And in about a year and a half later, I made it official by going to the court and filing for custody. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna break down what I did by accident that I now tell brothers to do that helps them legally when it comes time to step in front of that court to deal with custody issues or even make their situation with the other mother better.
Well, oftentimes because I had custody of my daughter.
Hmm.
I took custody of my daughter when she was little too. She was like maybe like 16 months. She was like a year and a half. Not I don't even think she was quite a year and a half. I had custody of my little girl, and it pretty much came the same way. Her mother acting a damn fool, doing the craziest of stuff. Of course,
Yeah,
just the craziest. And I had to go and get my daughter because if I didn't go and get my daughter, the white folks would have came and got her because her mother was just off the chain.
right.
Um, a lot of times, and I talk about this a lot, and you can chime in on this too. I often say that many times when these women, not all women, but we got a healthy population of women who are not taking care of these kids the way they're supposed to be taken care of. And I tell the brothers, go and get those babies, man. She mistreating them. She ain't feeding them right. she up and down the street, leaving the kids by themselves, and all this kind of nonsense. You need to go and get them babies, man. Even if you got to do it via the court, I mean, I often say this too. I say, well, if you done messed around and stuck your penis in the wrong place, I can't be mad at you for that. But I can be mad at you if you let her continue to have this baby when she's not treating this child right. When you
you gotta step in.
Yeah, when I can't let you slide on that one.
Right. I mean, just telling my story alone and telling the father side of the situation, that automatically talks down to the female just by nature of that conversation. It's no different when women are talking about the struggles of being a baby mother. But before I do that, I want to say this to the brothers. When you put in your penis in a woman and you don't pull out, you have chose her, fam. You chose her. And you have to be a man after the fact. I know I'm not telling you to be a simp and let a mother run over you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that you have to at least tell yourself, you know what, man up. I made a decision, and that was a decision. That was a firm decision to ejaculate into a woman, especially if you knew she wasn't right. And you got to own that. So whatever comes with it, you're gonna have to man up and deal with that. With that being said, that don't mean I got to tolerate her nonsense. That don't mean you got to tolerate the mother's nonsense. No. All right. This is full circle. Being responsible for your actions is always taking responsibility for your actions, not just one time. When you say, all right, well, I messed up and got pregnant, so I deserve this. No. You took responsibility. Now you got to keep stepping up. As long as that child is alive and needs you, you got to keep stepping up. If that means going to war with the mom, then that's what you got to do.
Yep. You have to do it. And I tell brothers this too, because I've told my sons this. I'm like, you mess around and you get yourself hooked up with some old chicken head. I'm old. I'm old because I say chicken head.
Hey man, I'm 42. I say chicken head too.
If you mess around and poke one of these chicken heads, and she old chicken head,
right.
You mess around and run up in her raw, man. You kind of gotta live with whatever comes after that,
right.
Because if you know that a woman is somewhat irresponsible, and you turn around and you be irresponsible too, that's two irresponsible ass people. So you don't have no choice but to live with what comes behind that.
Right.
You don't have a choice. So if a kid comes behind that, and that this girl is, number one, immature, number two, not taking care of the child the right way, number three, she's more interested in freaking being on Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram than the child. You have to step in. You don't have a choice. You really don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice, or different than she is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Different. It is what it is. Somebody's got to take this child and be responsible for it. And when I had that moment in the mirror, it was like an out-of-body experience. It's like I was talking to myself. It's like I had my daughter's life flashed before my eyes. I saw a ratchet ass girl that looked like me talking crazy. And I said, nah, not my daughter. And I looked at myself and I said, go get your baby. Out of the two parents she got, she didn't ask to be here, but out of the two parents that she got, you give her the best chance. And I can't even start to tell you all the sacrifices I made financially, as far as my businesses, my career, and everything I had to drop to be a full-time dad. But it's worth it because my child is more important to me than anything else. So, like my grandmother used to say, you got to make a way out of no way. And I can just tell you a quick story, man, how ugly it gets, and how lonely it gets being a single father, especially when you don't have a tight family. I don't have a tight family. My family's spread out. Our family was decimated after, I think after the Great Migration. My family's never been the same. We one of those families where some people migrated to Chicago, some migrated to Texas, some migrated to New York, and that's where I come in. And so I haven't met my first cousins until 2008. It was the first time I met my mother's sister's children. That's how fragmented my family is. So when you in this situation, you don't even have a real family behind you. It is real hard. It is real lonely. And there's a lot of things you got to take on the chin and suck up. There's a lot of hurtful moments, moments of disrespect, disappreciation, um, just deception, being used, coming to the realizations over and over again what your situation is with this person you had a child with, and you got to march through that. See, the problem with a lot of brothers, man, and it's not their fault, but it is their fault. It's not their fault that they wasn't raised in a community with real men, so their constitution is not all the way where it needs to be. And I can admit that I suffered from that too when I was young. My constitution wasn't where it needed to be. But what is your fault is not recognizing that. And then when you do recognize it, not improving on it. All right. You're responsible for yourself. It's still your life. And I'll give you a situation that would break anybody. Um, there was a summer where one of my homeboys I grew up with got shot. Then my two of my aunts that raised me got sick. One from diabetes, one from cancer. One came out of nowhere. She always smoked and they got cancer and literally died in 3 weeks. So we watched somebody who looked a certain way, looked like a zombie in 3 weeks. She completely looked different. And then the same thing happened to the other aunt. Once one aunt died, her spirit broke and she died. This all happened in a 1 month period. At this time, I was also going through it with baby moms where she didn't want to be a mother. This is one of the 4 times she didn't want to be a mother. This particular time was when I came to the house to pick the baby up. She had all her stuff on the curb, toys and everything. Telling me, I don't want to do this because just keeping her daughter for 2 days was hard, you know. And so I'm going through that with her, where she doesn't want to be a mother, but she would still do her hair from time to time. So one time I dropped off to get her hair done on the way back because I've been going back and forth to New York. Also, to add insult to injury, I was out of work for a little bit, so I just got a new job. And I got to working for these real racist guys who really wasn't trying to even care about my situation. They were completely unfeeling. They were completely indifferent to my situation. So I'm working this new job. I got 3 people who have died. I got my daughter on my hip. I'm going back and forth to New York City. And this time I come to pick my daughter from getting her hair done. I say, hey, look, I'm talking to my baby mama. I said, look, I need you to do me a favor. Because you hold me down for a couple of weeks. Just keep us so I can get my head straight, take care of some stuff with the family. And, just a week or two, And that girl looked me dead in my face with my baby right there in the car seat and said, your family problems or your family problems. And I walked out of that house with that baby in the car seat. That's how cold it gets. You understand? When you're a single parent. And I can tell you right now, for any good single mother out there, I now understood in that moment what some of them go through when they with bastards. You know what I mean? That don't take care of their kids or who don't give a shit, about what the life they created. Not saying that's all dudes, of course not. But there are some dudes out there who are like that. And I understood in that moment what my mother had went through. Because my father was like a bastard. So in that moment, I was like, damn, it's cold out here. I left that house with that car seat, went to that last funeral, came back. These crackers fired me. And I remember being in the going to the last funeral to make arrangements for my last aunt who passed away. And there was a lot of turmoil with the family I had to deal with. And I'm sitting up in New York a few days later than I'm supposed to be. And I'm not even telling nobody that I'm unemployed because I was ashamed. You know what I mean? I didn't even want to tell, the oldest son, the oldest sibling is out here on his back. I get back to Virginia, and I remember like it was yesterday. My daughter was in the bed sleep. It's like 2 a.m. We get back from New York, and because I'm playing like I got to get back to work, so that's why I left in the middle of the night from New York. I'm actually putting on the front right now. This is the reason why I'm getting back so late. And it was like 2 a.m. I put my baby down, and she's like 3 years old at the time. And I go to my bedroom. I come back and I look at her, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I lost it. I did not know how I was going to get out of this situation. I did not know. I didn't know how I was going to do this. I had no idea. I had rent due. My rent's like $1,300 a month. I'm in Northern Virginia. You know what I mean? And I had no gig. This kid got to eat. Do I pay rent? Do I put her in childcare so I can go get a job? I mean, there's a lot of things you got to figure out. I got no family support, and I got a baby mom don't want to watch her own kid. So these are the situations you run into as a single father, and you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready for it mentally. And I'm here to tell you, being where I am now versus then, you can make it. You can make it. There's nothing wrong with being human. You're gonna have days where you feel tore down. What you got to do is you got to let it out. Remember who the hell you are. Pick yourself up. And the way I did it, the very next day, after my face dried, the very next day I got up. I used my daughter's whiteboard. She had this little Dora whiteboard, and I used her whiteboard, and I started writing down what I needed to get done. I started putting things on. I started writing shit down and organizing my life, and that's how I got out of it. That's really how I got it. I can't even tell you nothing else. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it was prayer. No. It was straight up logical organization. Like, all right, I'm gonna organize my life. Start, prioritizing what's important. I'm gonna take a lot of L's, and I did. I got evicted. I ended up getting evicted at some point, but I kept moving. You know what I mean? I took on 2 jobs. I ain't gonna lie. I even used women that like me. Would help babysit. I did what I had to do. I got into operation mode. I have to survive. I have to do this for my baby. She only has me. This is a beautiful little girl who I love. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you say you love something, and this is why I get into it with a lot of single mothers. And when you just reference something like where they put, the club and all this other dumb shit ahead of their kids. If you really love something, you don't put nothing before it. That's what real love is. And thank God, I had actual women in my past that did that. I was always a grandma's boy. I thought my grandfather took her for granted. But I was like, why didn't she leave? Why didn't she just do what made her happy? But you know what? They just got separate rooms. They never broke up the family. Grandma never left. She never quit on the family because it was more important than how she felt or what was going on between those two. She had children and she had grandchildren. And if I didn't have that lesson in my life, you know what I'm saying, that gave me a foundation to move forward. My grandmother taught me what real love was. Real love is not words, it's action, it's devotion. It's looking at something and saying, that right there is the most important thing to me. I'm going to do what it requires to get it done, no matter what. That means not dating women, not going out, not taking certain jobs because it's not convenient for where I live. There was one job I could have took overseas. I was working out at DOD, and I could have went over to Iraq when the Iraq war was going on. It was paying for my type of work. It was paying $280K, and at that point, that was before it was like when 150 of it, 190 of it was like tax free. And I couldn't even go because I was in a custody battle with the mom. I couldn't leave with my daughter with the mother. I had no one to take care of my daughter. So I lost out on opportunities. I can give you like 4 more examples of that. You lose opportunities because you have to ground yourself so your kid is grounded. So your kid has a foundation. So they have a home. They can go to school. They're stable. These are all sacrifices. And I hate to use that word because the truth of the matter is, it's not really a sacrifice when you think about it. The kid did not ask to be here. It's what you're supposed to do. Being a parent is being on duty. And that's for men or women. And right now, we don't see that. We don't see duty. We don't see purpose. We don't see real love and devotion to our own seeds. And that's what's sad. And we're going to correct that. And what I call myself, I just had a conversation with a brother at work yesterday. Yesterday, actually. I was talking to Academy Lindsay at my job. And he was giving me his story about what he was going through with his child's mother and what he did for his 2 daughters. And just the level of disrespect from this woman is ridiculous what this cat went through. And I told him, I said, brother, I'm the evolution. Not because I'm better than any brother that came along. I'm the evolution because this has to change. We've been dealing with this for about 50 years now. And this has to change. Matter of fact, I was reading a stat earlier today that said from the 1960s, when we had the sexual revolution, So follow me on this, X. The sexual revolution happened in the 60s where women started to get more free with their sex and having sex with who they want to have sex with. And then right, not shortly behind that, single motherhood started to increase. What also increased from that time, at that time in 1960, this is according to Pew Research, there were 300,000 single fathers in this country, mostly due to, mothers who had illnesses or died, and you know what I mean. So that's a safe number in the country with as many people as we have in this country. You would think that number would exist because there's things that just happen, car accidents. There are a lot of things that would take a mother out of the situation, but that number has increased by 9 times. As of 2011, there's over 2.6 million single fathers holding down children in this country. And I can't wait for the next research to come out to show where we are now, because I know it's increased more because I'm meeting them. I know like 5 dudes that got their kids. I had a supervisor named Anthony. He had all 3 of his boys. And one time he was at work and I was like, hey, where the mom at? I don't know, somewhere in DC. You don't know where she at. And like a real G, like me, he don't care. Because the truth of the matter is, once I got my daughter, I really didn't care what mom did. All I cared is that when she did see her, that she treated her right. That's all. I really didn't care what she did. And that's how men move. And women don't move that way, as you see. The women, like, as soon as they get a kid, they don't even give you a chance to be a father. They take you right to court.
True.
Right to court. Go get that paper. You hear them, they do it on Maury all the time. As soon as they get the results. Child support. I mean, that's all. Look, they're using their seeds to get money so they can get their hair done and do all this dumb stuff. That don't mean anything. Having a great weave don't make you a better mother. Having press-on nails, it don't make you a better mother. It's like me sitting here saying, yeah, man, my kid needs to go to this camp that's going to get her, better prepared for college, but I'm not going to do it because I want to buy some new Jordans. Now, if I said that, y'all look at me like I'm crazy, but we normalize that amongst women.
Yeah.
Yeah, the school wants her, man, but it's going to cost me, $1,000 a month, but I want to get this new drop top. So she's going to have to go to public school. People will look at me like I was crazy if I said something like that, or if I did something like that. But we're watching women do it every day. So single fatherhood, in my opinion, needs to increase, not just for that reason, but for some other reasons that are natural. Because beyond the nurturing years, there's some good mothers out there. Don't get me wrong. There's some mothers out there who teach well and can really, add to their kids' life. But even in a 2-parent home, past the nurturing years, it flips. First 3 to 4 years, the mother is very vital to that kid because there's a lot of nurturing that has to take place with the child. All right. But beyond that time, if it starts to flip. And if you don't think the father is the most important, ask any kid or any adult that had a real active father in their life. And you can see the difference in them. And there's a reason for that, because naturally the roles change for a reason. The father instills not just discipline, but he instills standard. Any girl coming up under a father that has their father's approval, she walks with her head high. That crosses across races, classes. Look at what's in there? Look at the Trump's daughter. Look how she walks. You see what I'm saying? Very proud. But I guarantee you, if she didn't grow up with that, and her father's a bastard, but it doesn't matter because he was stable and he was in her life, and he gave her the self-confidence. And now she acts like him. She's a businesswoman like him. You see what I'm saying? So even somebody like Trump can make an impression on a child. That's telling you something. So when you got better men out there being fathers to their children, just imagine what we can have out here going forward. Now, I sorry I ran on a little rant. I'm gonna let you get in there, brother.
Oh, well, you my guest. You pull the trigger. Say what you got to say, brother Jay Shine.
I'm pretty sure you got some other questions.
Say what you got to say, brother. Let me just chastise the audience right quick. Now, y'all know that I hate when these here numbers. You see these numbers down here? See that number right there? Y'all know I hate when that number is less than the damn watch numbers. So you need to be hitting that like button on the way in. And if you're not going to hit it on the way in, hit it on the way out. And while you're at it, if you're feeling generous, you might want to put a little coins. Let me get the stream in there so y'all can see it. Put a few coins in this here bucket. See that right here? See it? Let me see if I can get my finger there by it. There it is. See it right here? See that? Put a few coins right up in there. See that? Thank you very much. Let's talk about it a little bit. Because statistically, and us black folks, we don't really like statistics except the ones that we like. But statistically, single fathers of children typically do better than single fathers that have children, I should say. The children do better under a single father. Of course, we would think the ideal situation is a mother and a father, but percentage-wise, kids raised by single fathers do better than kids that are raised by single mothers. They do better in school. They usually turn out better adults. Girls who are raised by single fathers make better choices in men. Young boys raised by single fathers are less likely to be sexually promiscuous. Likewise with girls, they're more likely to stay in school. The list goes on and on and on. Now, of course, people will say, because a lot of people like to base their arguments off of exceptions. Oh, I know a guy who was raised by his father and he ended up in jail and on crack. They like to quote the one person out of 10,000. That they know that's different.
Always, there's a small percentage of fathers who fail.
Of course. There's always outliers, but the overall majority, the children that are raised by single fathers, especially black fathers, because as we all know, black fathers are the best fathers. They beat everybody. They beat everybody. White folks, Hispanics, Asians, just beat them all in all the numbers. If y'all think I'm lying, y'all can get off of here and go
we so
shit.
Good. We the best stepfather too.
Absolutely.
I want to take it over other men's children.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Why do you think, I know I got my ideas about it, but why do you think that single fathers like yourself have a tendency to rear better children than a single mother? Why do you think that is?
Well, piggyback on what I was saying a minute ago, because naturally, just natural law, forget society. See, a lot of people look at things based on how we've been taught in this Western society. Let's just make it primal. As soon as a kid got of age in all cultures, whether it was Roman culture, Greek culture, old Asian culture, ancient African culture, once you got off the tit, they turned you over to who? The father. So you can start learning how to do certain things. Now, the women children learned how to start doing things around the house. So they were still under purview of the mom, but it was still to the everything in the house was still done to the expectations of the father. You see what I'm saying? Everything was done to please the father. So even though the mother was still managing the daughter inside the home, it's still when daddy came home, it was all about pleasing daddy. You see what I'm saying? So that power was still there of the father. And then the father would spend time with the daughter and then reassure them. And that reassurance coming from another man, who hopefully doesn't want anything from you, because we know we got a lot of sick men out here too. But a man who doesn't want something from you is very important to a young lady, because if they grow up without that, they intend to go out and start looking for that affirmation in a lot of different ways that we all know turn out to be thottiness, disrespectful, attitudes, and thieving, deceiving, and conniving, and they start turning over into looking for sex and for attention and getting material things so they can get attention. I mean, all that dumb shit that we see happen with girls when they have no fathers around to give them that affirmation. So I think fathers are just better naturally because that's the natural order of things. Also, men are more logical. So when we're running a home and we got to run it by ourselves, we do things logically. We're not, we're just not emotional like that. You know what I'm saying? Even when we had the toughest, it took a lot to break me down. I went through a lot of shit, as a single father, but it took a lot of factors. It took 3 people dying, losing the job, and being disrespected and abandoned by the mom for me to sit back and like, damn, with rent coming. You know, it took all of that to break me down. So men naturally don't think emotionally, naturally. Now we all know the epidemic we've had for the last 30, 40 years with single motherhood. That's produced a different type of male. But putting that aside, men naturally are logical. You give us no other recourse but to do it ourselves. We're gonna do it XYZ. We're not gonna put emotions to it. We're gonna put logic to it. We're gonna have a house that says, you know what, we can't afford this, so we're not doing that. I'm not gonna have my son living in the hood in DC in a gang infested area and then buy him some Jordans just so I can see him smile. And then 2 days later, he gets killed. That's what women are doing. You understand what I'm saying? A man wouldn't have done that. Not in the hood. A man in the hood raising his children would have been logical. First of all, he knows wolves are out here. He's not looking for that emotional moment to have with the child so they can smile. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to keep our children safe and healthy. We're doing the basic stuff. And that's why we tend to be better fathers. Better parents than when you have what's going head to head with mothers. But I want to read something to you. The reason why we have this situation, because there were some feminists that said children from single mother families fare better than children from single father families. Now let me read something to you. 85% of children that exhibit behavioral disorders come from fatherless homes. 71% of high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. 75% of all adolescent parents in chemical abuse centers come from fatherless homes. That means right now, I'm going to stop right there. That drug epidemic we're seeing right now, a lot of these white kids getting hooked on drugs, they're coming from broken white homes. I'm going to continue. And we saw that in the crack era too. 70% of juveniles in state operated institutions come from fatherless homes. That means state-ran orphanages. 85% of all youth sitting in prisons grow up in fatherless homes. 80% of rapists motivated with displaced anger, which is that effeminate thug shit we see in the hood when niggas just killing each other all the time and doing crazy stuff all the time, come from fatherless homes. 90% of all homeless and runaway children come from fatherless homes. These are the numbers. Mm-hmm. But we sit here in a society and we endorse single motherhood to this day. Now, I'm not even saying single fatherhood is good, but it's just like what you said a minute ago. When people want to sit here and they're gonna throw out the one time a child came from a single father home and did something crazy, as if we don't have children that came from a two-parent home and did something crazy. They're all, but they're a smaller percentage. We all know the best children fare from two-parent homes that stay together. That's the part they leave out. Families that stay together, stable homes, stable two-parent rent homes, not unstable. If you got to stay a two-parent home when you're constantly fighting, that's just as bad. It's almost better than from them being a single-parent home, because that toxic energy between the mother and father is rubbing off on the children. So there's a lot of dynamics we're not talking about when it comes to this issue. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why fathers make better parents is just because we're logical. We're just more logical. That's it. And it's natural for us to take it from a certain point. Once I got past doing panties and teaching my daughter how to do the potty and potty training her and all that, it wasn't actually that hard. Just being a father. My daughter listens to me. I've never had an issue with my daughter not respecting me. The only way disrespect ever came in is when you have issues between the man and the mother. So if the kid is with the mom and she's constantly disrespecting the father, that's when you see disrespect of the father. You don't see that when the mother's respectful to the father, or when there's no disrespect towards the father and the father gets the whole court. You don't see that. And what these mothers are doing that is so selfish is that they're sending kids out that are disrespecting half of themselves out into the world. And we wonder why these children are so goddamn violent and disrespect authority. But we can't do nothing about it. Black girls rock, right? We're gonna keep celebrating the bullshit, and this issue is very serious, because me and you are black men, and if we go into the hood, if we get harmed by a young black person or a young brother that's lost, 9 times out of 10 it's coming from a single mother.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying? Single motherhood is they're sending missiles out into the world, missiles of destruction, and they're not taking no responsibility for the behavior of their children. Matter of fact, I even take it a step further. That is being sponsored by the state. We've all read stories of women killing their children doing crazy stuff, women knowing that the boyfriend they brought in the house was molesting the children, and the state does nothing to the mothers. Now, I tell you right now, if a man had custody of his children and stuff like that was going on in his home, they would take that kid away from him right away. They're not even taking these children away from the mother. They're not punishing the mothers and not taking the children away from the mother. So mothers in our society don't have the same state accountability that black men have, or men have in general. We don't have the social pressure. They don't have the social pressure that we have. I know as a father, I can't, mess up too much. I'll give you a quick story. My daughter was in kindergarten and she was standing behind me, right? And I didn't know she was behind me. You know how you take your belt out of your pants loop and it whips?
Mm-hmm.
And it hit her in the face. So, it left a little whelp on the side of her cheek. Now, it was an accident. So, of course, put some, AD ointment on it and sent her to school the next day. One of the teachers see that in there. They know me and the mother don't get along. They know the child's with me. And they took the opportunity to call CPS on me. You see what I'm saying? This is what we up against. They asked me what happened. I told them what happened. The kid is 5 years old. The kid says this is what happened. Now we're going to call CPS anyway. Now I got this white lady in my house coming to see how the status of the home is and walking through my crib and
asking questions and shit.
Yeah, asking questions and shit. But I lucked out and I got a young, cool white chick. She looked about maybe 5-6 years older than me. And, she came in and she just looked around and, she cut her little tour short. She said, kids' room was straight. She talked to the child at the school. We just need to come by and check and make sure everything's okay. And they did. And they closed the case. And that was it. But this is what we up against as fathers. You think they would did that to a mother? No. That's what I'm saying about social and state pressure. We got to be, and not only that, we better parents, we got to be perfect at it. We can't have no mistakes. We can't have a mental breakdown and do something crazy. We can't have a bad day and do something wrong. And I couldn't even accidentally hit my daughter in the face by accident because I didn't know she was behind. My daughter always had this game where she like to sneak up on me. She does this shit to this day. That's something she's always done. She does it to this day. I come in the kitchen, she pop out from the dining room. Like, what you doing, man? It's not gonna hurt you keep doing that. I keep telling her that. You're gonna get a bad reaction someday. You're gonna scare the shit out of somebody, they're gonna react bad. You're gonna hurt you. But she does it, she did it when she was 5. Something she's always done. So the school jumps in and they do what they do, and I'm like, yeah. And I can give you more stories too. When I was in court, just judges overreacting, to something I might say or something the mother says. But if I flip it around, I give them like 10 things the mother did wrong. And it's like, let me ask you a question, sir. Do you think that people can change? I think we should give mom another chance. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just don't give a shit. It's not even about the children. It's about the women. Yeah. The courts are feminized. The schools are feminized. They ran by women. The clerk's office is by women. I sat in the clerk's office and asked questions about what paperwork to file. And they're like, well, we can't give you no legal advice. And then I would sit there and then another woman would come in and they would give her the rundown. This is what you're up against as a single dad.
Let me tell you something, because I went through similar, I was telling you I had to get custody of my daughter when she was like 1.5 years. And I was at work, and back then I actually used to be a corporate guy. What a lot of people don't know, I'm a power mechanic now. I own a power mechanic shop, but when I was younger, I actually was a corporate guy. I used to work for Terminex International. I was a compliance specialist. I had an office, went there, suit and tie, briefcase, and the whole nine. Like Fortune 500 type brother. And I'm sitting in my office and I get a phone call at the office, and somebody's calling me, telling me that my daughter is in the middle of the highway. And I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean my daughter's in the middle of the highway? So When they say that, I just drop the phone. I leave. I don't even say nothing to nobody inside the building. I just jump in my car and leave and head over to my kid's mother house. And by the time I get there, you know, the cops are there, CPS is there, everybody's there. And what had happened is she, you know, her mother, who was just, I guess, zooty banged at the time, she didn't let my 16-month-old daughter actually leave the house, and she done walked and is walking in the middle of the goddamn highway. So what I did is I put my baby, when they brought my baby back over there, I just put my baby back in the car and left. Right? So I go to the house. When I get to my house, I'm not at my house 20 minutes before the white folks is there. Now they're at my house now, right? Now, mind you, my house isn't the house that she slipped out of and walking in the damn highway. It's her mother's house.
Right.
All right. But they at my house asking me questions, right? So the dude knocks on the door. This dude from CPS knocks on the door, and he's like, oh, you know, we just got to make sure the baby's all right, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, she's fine. She's away from there, right? So,
Right.
so he walks away. 10 damn minutes later, he's back knocking on the door. When I open the door, it's 5 police outside. And this freaking CPS guy. And they're like, oh, well, you know, we got to take the kid because, you know, she let the kid walk in the highway and it's that. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, I already took the kid. The kid is safe now, right?
Right. You took the kid.
Yeah, I've already taken the kid. Now, the reason why he came back with the cops is because, you know, he was just one little Weasley white guy, and he knew he wasn't taking my baby out of that freaking house by himself. So he knocked back on my door 5 minutes later with like 5 police with him. And the police came in there and they said, well, you know, you got to let him take the kid because, you know, a report's been filed. The baby was in the highway, so we got to take the kid. But I didn't make no fuss. I was calm. I said, you know what? Go ahead, because I know I'm going to get my daughter. So, not for nothing, I'm in court a week later, Brother Jay Shine, right? I'm in court a week later trying to get my daughter because they're not about to give her back to her mother, right? So the judge says, well, you know, we got to go out and we got to do an investigative report. Now, mind you, she just came from a house where this damn woman ain't doing shit. She laying around letting the child walk out and walk to the highway, but they want to.
Oh, so the mother was there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they need to come to my house and do an investigative report. So they come to my house, right? They send somebody to my house. They come in my house. They making sure the toilet flushes. They're turning on light switches off and on. They're making sure I got food in the refrigerator. They're making sure that I have a working kitchen. They're making sure that there's a bed in the room for the baby to sleep at. They call my job, right? They want to know if I have health insurance. They want to know what my position. I mean, making me go through all of this shit now. And I asked them, I said, well, you're making me go through all this shit and I have done nothing, but would you be making her go through all of that shit? And she's the one that caused the problem, made it so I had to come and get my daughter. And the crazy thing is, man, because eventually I got custody of my daughter. You know I did, because, you know, the brother had his shit together. You know, I had my own place. You know, I had my own job.
They make it hard for you, though.
Yeah, they made it hard, but I eventually got her. You know, within like 2 weeks, she was living at my house. It took like maybe 2-3 weeks. So when I finally got her, they told me that you know, oh, you can't let her see her mother, you know, unsupervised and also kind of nonsense. And the crazy thing is I still let her crazy ass see that child unsupervised. Now, had the shoe been on the other foot, that wouldn't happen. She wouldn't have did that to me, especially if I done let the baby just walk on into the highway, you know, at a 1.5 years old. And I say that to say this: they are harder on you, the person who has done nothing, just because you trying to get the baby, as opposed to being harder on the person who has the crazy household, the violence going on, the people smoking crack in the kitchen and all that kind of nonsense, the drinking, the fighting, the shooting. They will make it harder on the brother who doesn't have any of that going on than they will the mama, because for some reason they have it in their minds that mothers are just automatically the best parent. Just for some reason, I guess because the baby fell out of her old funky hole. But for some reason, they just seem to think that the mother is the best parent, even if the mother smokes crack, even if the mother's a drunk.
It's actually it's not that they think the mothers are the best. It's procedural at this time. Women are a protected class in this country. You understand? And I think a police officer could tell you too, like, you know, if you assault a woman, that's like a different charge than a regular assault. You see what I'm saying? They're a protected class. And you gotta remember, these laws governing parenting stem from a time when women didn't have not many rights. They weren't making the money, you know what I mean? So it was already assumed that the mother job was to take care of the kid and your job was to go out there and earn. Think about it. You know, you both made the kid, right? But every time you go to court, she could be broke as a joke. And you're the one that has a gun in your head if you don't have no money. You're the one that's liable to go to jail if you can't take care of the kid. The mama don't have to, you know what I mean? She could be all fucked up. You don't have no way of taking care of the kid, but she's not a threat of going to jail because that's how the laws have been built. And even though they're saying they're fair, they're not really fair. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm part of, like, you know, father advocacy groups. Most of them are white, you know, and I give my little 2 cents on the message board. And I'm supposed to be, they want me to come down in June to Richmond to talk in front of a judiciary board to talk about some of the things I went through in the legal system, because we got to establish paternal rights now. We have to establish paternal rights. That's how this country works, unfortunately. We have to go in and establish paternal rights because they don't look at us as equals when it comes to the mother. It's just the way it is. You know, I'm telling you right now, with everything on my side, 12 years in the game, when I step into the courtroom, even to last year, I just came out of court. They still put me through bullshit. I done raised this girl, and they treating me like I'm the visiting parent. You know, and it's not because I'm the visiting parent. It's because I'm the man. I'm the male. It's not what the system was designed for. So we're going to have to get, until we get some legislation on the books, there's going to be this bullshit game they play with us. Because this is really about money at the end of the day. This is really about money. I sat in the courtroom, and I was with my homeboy Mohabit, and he got a chick pregnant. He didn't know if it was his, so he requested a paternity test. We get to the court, they got the results. We in the courtroom, I'm in the back, I'm as a witness. And I'm sitting in the courtroom, and the judge reads the results and then starts chastising him about responsibility, as if he had a nerve to challenge if this was his kid. And he chastised him about being responsible and da-da-da-da. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, hold up. This is her third baby daddy. The sister on the other side of the courtroom, this is her third baby daddy. She has shown that she's not responsible, but he's getting chastised for his first child because he wanted to know if it was his. The fact that he asked for a paternity test shows that he's responsible.
Exactly.
He wanted to know if it was his before we went any further. And he came to court. The court knows this, and the court knows that most guys that are irresponsible who are in the wind don't show up to court. So the fact that you're showing up to court shows that you're taking responsibility and accountability. Yep. And he petitioned, he asked for, he requested the DNA test. So how is he being irresponsible? It's insane to sit here and watch this shit. It's like being in the Twilight Zone. I'm sitting here watching somebody who went to school forever to get a robe, and they got no common sense all of a sudden. They got no intelligence. This woman is on her third baby daddy, but he's being chastised for being irresponsible. And you're about to give her another check. Well, and you know why they do this? This society does this. And I don't have no real evidence of this, but it's just my belief because I've been in this country for 40 years. They do this, X, because I believe, this is what I believe. Back in the 50s or the 40s, if you was selling vacuum cleaners, if you were selling irons or some shit like that, some door-to-door stuff, you had to get the approval of the man. So a salesman would knock on the door and say, "Ma'am, is the," they will tell her about it, get her all psyched up, and then say at the end of the spill, is the the man of the household, because he had the purse, he had to pay for the shit. You see what I'm saying? So even in that time when you were selling something that a woman would use, like a vacuum cleaner or an iron, right? Because it was quote unquote her job, she was a housewife. It still had to be approved by the man because he controlled the money. Now, what's happened since then is that they've given women jobs. That's been, state sponsored to give women all these positions and hire women. They've given the women the children. They've encouraged single parenthood. And now look what's happened. Think of all the businesses that you drive past every day that feeds off this situation. Target, Kohl's, all these stores. Think about it. It's big business. 80% of the commercials on TV are tailored to women so they can spend money. Look at our situation as Black people. Billions of dollars a year on weave. We got kids in Baltimore where Charles Faulkner works at. Kids in Baltimore who got no fucking heat in the school. But those mothers got a weave on. They know this. They know this. They know they're giving the money to the most irresponsible person in a lot of situations. And that's not saying all mothers are irresponsible. But I'm talking about a situation that I witnessed in court where they're giving this woman more child support from another dude. And he's only had one child. This is his first child. And he wanted to make sure it was his. Which means that it's evidence, if they were being fair, that he didn't believe her and trust her. That's what it'd be like. Because they flip it around and she said something emotional and said, "Look, I don't. I want to. I want proof of this." They were like, well, the mother should, has a right to know, but they won't say that to you. Mm-hmm. You don't have a right to know if this is your child.
Well, I mean, think about it. Have you ever heard of a woman suggesting a paternity test? How often do you hear that? How often do you hear a woman say, "Oh, I want to make sure it's yours"? How often?
A real chick, a real sister, a real woman was like, you know what? If she knows the kid is his, or if not, even if she doesn't know, she will request it because just to cut out the drama. But they're not being socialized like that. Why would you want to know for sure what it is so you can just move forward? Just move forward.
Well, I often say this, man. I say this phrase, and I'm pretty sure it makes people angry, but I don't care. I say it anyway. Yeah. The reason why Black men are the best fathers, because often Black children have the worst of mothers. Let me say that again, just in case y'all didn't hear.
You saying it's about default?
if the reason why Black men usually make the best fathers is because often Black children have the worst of mothers. Well, we've talked about the negative and the perils and the courts and CPS and everybody else. Won't you talk about the upside of raising your daughter yourself? Yeah. What's the good, and, the positive?
And I want to come back to the court stuff. I got some advice for the brothers. I want to get into that. But the upside is this. I get to come home every day to my child. I know where she's at. I know what's going on with her. We get to talk. I get to answer her questions. She has a lot of questions. My daughter has she puts a lot of stuff on me. Things I don't want to hear. She's in high school now. Freshman in high school, and there's things going on in high school. I don't really want to hear about this shit, but I listen to her because I want to know what she's going through. And the upside of that is that I get to see this child grow. I often tell my daughter all the time, I remember when you were this big, and I point to my forearm, and I was scared to hold it in my forearm. You know what I mean? And I would have the remote in one hand and have her in the forearm, rocking her in the other hand. That's how small she was. And I got to watch her grow. And it's the greatest honor in the world of watching human beings grow up. You notice how coaches all the time talk about how You know, it was great to watch these kids for the last 4 years grow, and it's been my honor. And I believe when they say a lot of when they say that it's genuine because it's an honor to watch someone grow into their own. It is, man. Now that's the selfish part of it. The unselfish part of it is that we've been having this debate in the manosphere for the last few weeks about community responsibility. On on a micro level, this is the most important thing you can do is be a dad or a mentor to children. It creates stability in the community. Children grow up respecting male authority, which is very important. You can't really have brotherhood in our community or brotherhood amongst men if there's not an inherent respect for male authority. That's why we have so much chaos in the black community now. That missing father, that missing component in our community, and the complete lack of respect for men, especially black men, and fatherhood in our community is the reason why you have all the stuff you have going on right now in society, in our society. The way the children act. Anybody from Chicago knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's no respect, none. It's just do it as you will. And what men bring to that is order. So the upside of being a father is that I'm contributing, I'm producing a productive, in this case, a female that's not going to be out here on some ratchet shit. She's not going to be out here trying to get over on people. She's not going to be out here producing children, just willy nilly. She knows where she comes from. And most importantly, X, she's going to be a mother that's going to pass on what I taught her, that was taught to me by my grandmother, that was taught to her by her grandmother. These are things we don't think about when it comes to parenting. My daughter, I tell her all the time, when she gets, when she has her moments where she's being bratty and she wants things, and I will tell her, look, I don't give a fuck about your happiness. Who do you think you're talking to? I don't care about your happiness. My responsibility is to raise you to be the best adult and mother you can be to my grandbabies. That's right, my grandbabies. So I can fall back and be a grandparent. That's my job. Not to sit here and tend to every whim and every want that you need. But you see a lot of parents out here call themselves good parents because they bought their kid a new pair of shoes. You hear all the time, oh, they happy. Who? What do you mean? My kids are good. They got the newest shoes. They got video games. She went to the Beyonce concert. What are you talking? My kids are good. No. That's not how you raise a child. Feeding their primal nature. Feeding their every want and desire. Every time they see a commercial, oh, I want that. And then you sitting here and you call yourself a good parent because you came to that nonsense. That's not being a good parent. So the upside of being a parent is that you get to contribute to your community in the most basic way. Everybody's talking about the community. The most influential way to take care of your community is to raise the next generation. That's the best way to deal with your community. That's the best way to contribute to your community. And as a father, you automatically doing that. My daughter is helping other young girls who don't have a father like me. She's the one that gives advice to her friends. That's the upside. Watch your influence flower and bloom. That's the pat on the back. That's what makes me happy. I don't even need appreciation from society no more. I don't need no one to come around and say, hey, you know what? Kudos to you. Because it's happening. My hard work and my quote unquote sacrifice is now, I'll give you an example of that. What's his name? I just found out recently, Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther, that Denzel Washington sent him to school. What's the guys that played? He played in Black Panther, the older dude. What's his name? He was a Ghost Dog, star in Ghost Dog. What's his name?
Oh, Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker. A couple of the people that was in Black Panther come from his stable. They've been passing on what they know. Danny Glover has done that. He has a stable of young brothers who are in the game now. This is what you do as a black man, and you do it in the dark. I did not know these brothers were doing this. But now you see you see what came to pass. You got a stable of young men, Michael B. Jordan included, that were being, mentored and guided and taught by men that came before them. That's also, to me, an aspect of being a father by extension. That's where the brotherhood comes into play, and that's what you're doing in your home. And all they're doing is doing it in their home with their children, and then doing it with other boys that come along. And not even that these other boys are fatherless, because as a father, I don't know everything. You might be able to teach my daughter something that you know what I mean. Your wife, you know what I mean, or somebody else's wife might be able to teach my daughter. See, now we're talking about community now.
Exactly.
We're talking about other people who are bringing something to the table. It's kind of like a potluck, you know.
Yep.
You bring macaroni and cheese. Somebody brings the potato salad. Somebody brings the chicken. Somebody gets cheap and brings the soda. You feel me? But they're adding to the potluck, and that's what community is about. It's about community, and that starts in the home. You can't do that with broken homes. That's why when you go to a lot of these baby showers, it's a twerking contest. Got nothing to do with the baby.
Nothing.
You go to some of these birthday parties for these kids, it turns to a twerking contest. It turns to a grown-up party. Remember that when we was little and you had your little party, and then, as soon as the sun start going down, then other grown folks start coming in and neighbors it turns to a grown-up party.
Yep.
You running around with cake on your face and a party hat, and you watching motherfuckers sneaking in bathrooms and fucking and shit, because it turns to some grown-up shit.
Yeah.
It's not communal.
Does.
This is what I grew up around. A lot of people from the hood know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that shit too, man. I've seen it too.
There's nothing communal about it. It's really selfish. It's just an excuse to get people to come over and have a get down so you can have you some fun. And it shouldn't have been about you. The birthday party should have been about the child, and that should have been the end of it. If you wanted to party, that should have been something else that carried on at another time, another date, another location. So kids don't even get to be kids. And I'm telling you right now, as a father, that shit would never happen in my house.
Exactly.
Well, it happens in a lot of other houses because there's no father there.
Well, men are less tolerant of BS. Especially if you are because you're a single father. I mean, there's no way you would tolerate the shit that a baby mama would tolerate in her house. There's no way you would tolerate it. No. You just wouldn't put up with it. Certain shit just isn't going to happen, and you establish that with your kids at a very young age so they know what to expect. What I think happens in a lot of households, because most of us, we come from baby mamas, and what happens is those standards aren't set at a young age. So as those kids start to grow, man, and get 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, those standards were never set when they were 3, 4, and 5. So, they grow right up in that dysfunction and the lack of standards, especially if there's no male influence in the house. But see, when you're a single father, the male influence is the house. That's the glue that holds the house together, is the male influence. So a lot less shit is going to be tolerated. And also, let me ask you about this, because we often talk about this too. You on media too. We often talk about women, who have children, and we talked about it a little while ago. They still at the club, they still chasing other penises, they doing all this kind of nonsense. Men are different. If a man has custody of his kids, he belays all of that other shit. He's not, when his kid come to live with him, he don't think, well, I got my kid, so now I'm going to continue to chase hoes. I got my kid, I'm going to be at the club. I got my kid, I'm going to be drinking, smoking, hanging. Men aren't that way. Right. So what are some of the sacrifices that you had to make, being a single father and having custody of your daughter? Talk about some of the sacrifices, stuff that you had to, kind of parlay and belay because you had your baby.
First of all, we're going. This is some real game for the brothers. This is a real topic you just brought up. All right. Now, before I get into what I do, let me tell you what I witnessed when I was a kid. I've witnessed men coming in and out of the house as a kid. My mother was a single mother. To go to the bathroom at night, I have to go through my mother's bedroom. We had one of those kind of apartments back in Brooklyn in the 80s. As a child, saw naked men sleeping. Because I had to walk past my mother's bed to go to the bathroom. You understand what I'm saying? So when I got into the driver's seat as a child, I said that'll never happen. So what that means is I don't get to do me as much. I don't want women coming in and out of my house. So I don't date as much as I used to. I have to be very disciplined and methodical about it. I'll give you a case in point. I date mostly when my daughter's gone. She goes to her mother's house every other week. And in the summer, she's gone for 4 weeks. So I have to plan a lot of my dirt when my daughter's not around. When she was real young, when she used to go to sleep at like 8 o'clock, I would have to have chicks come over at 9:30. This takes discipline. And, sometimes a lot of women are not down for that program. So you got to like go next. You know what I mean? You might be a girl you really like, but she ain't down with your program. You got to say, hey, I got to move on. There's somebody who is. That takes a lot of discipline. Because if you other alternatives to bend to her will, and now you're doing what some other chick wants, and then that's not the way. You losing control of your home, and now you're doing exactly what you're against, and that's having women coming in and out of the house. I don't want my daughter to see that, so I had to sacrifice my love life, if you will, to be a good single dad, not having women coming in and out of my daughter's house. So to give you an example of what happened last year, my daughter. Her mother wasn't getting along. It was her 2-week stint in the summer, and my daughter wasn't even there for 4 days. But my daughter doesn't get along with her boyfriend, and the boyfriend was like, "Well, if she don't like me, she can't come with us, him and his kids, to the beach that weekend." So what my mother did, instead of staying home with her own daughter or saying, "Fuck it, I got my own car, I'll drive to the beach myself and spend time with my daughter," she kicked the daughter out the house and brought her home a week early, 9 days early. All right. Now, when I got that phone call, I was in my bedroom with a female friend of mine sitting on the bed. I had 2 decisions to make. I could have said, yo, no. This is your time with your child. Be a mother. She can't come home. You know what I mean? You work this shit out. Or go get my daughter and get her away from her mother who don't want to be with her. And I chose to get my daughter away from, take her home back because I didn't want them over there arguing. And my daughter being emotionally scarred, and because that's some foul shit. That you would choose a man over your child just to go to fucking beach. I can understand it's Paris or some place you've never been before, somewhere exotic. Even that would be wrong, but I could understand it. I can't understand the goddamn beach. You can go to the beach anytime. So it was some foul stuff, and I hung the phone up, and I had to tell my friend. I say, hey, look, plans change. I gotta get my daughter. I'm gonna let you. You're gonna have to go to the crib, man. I'm gonna have to let you go. All right, sorry. And this is the shit you have to go through. Now, imagine how that young lady feels. She don't get to hardly see you because of my rules. And then even when you say it's all good, the kid's going to be gone for 2 weeks. We're going to get it in. Out of nowhere, she got to go. But at the end of the day, when I got to weigh this girl's feeling, even if she's cool people, and my child's feelings, my child is going to win. It's a no-brainer to me. It's not even a hard decision. I don't care if it was Holly Berry sitting on the end of the bed. I got to go. I gotta get my baby. It is what it is. That's part of being a parent. You got to drop what you're doing to be a parent at any moment. There's no time off. It's a 24/7 job. Period. I don't argue with that, and I don't respect those who do. Men or female. I don't understand how, as a woman, you can you push a kid out and carry a kid for 9 months, push it out, hold this pain of birth over men's head, and then as soon as something you want to do that's fun, you fucking divorce your child. I don't get that. Never will. And I never will understand. I can't even compromise on that. Yeah, Jay, you gotta understand. Fuck that. I don't understand nothing. Where's your kid at? Go get your kid. Secure the bag. The bag is the child. Period. And that's my mentality. So when it comes to, like I said before, we call it sacrifice, but to me, it's not really sacrifice. Yeah, it sucks. It's not as fun. But you know what's really fun? When they grow up good and happy. My daughter's happy, man. She's safe. Yeah, it sucks, man. I was going to get it in that night. X, man, I can't tell you, boy. I couldn't wait for Friday. I thought it was going all week, man. Friday was coming. We had plans. It was going to be on and popping. Get a phone call, 11 o'clock at night. Got to go. And that's what you have to do as a parent. And you got to expect it, especially if you know how the mother is. Look, I don't understand how, as a man, and you being a logical, and I tell brothers all the time, man, stay logical and, keep it real with yourself at all times, man. Don't never ever fall in la la land. You know you dealing with a ratchet baby mother, or you dealing with a baby mother's indifferent to you, or disrespectful, or irresponsible, or all four. You already know that. So when something happens, why are you up in arms? Why are you flipping out? If you're a real soldier, soldiers don't cry. Like, what do you mean we gotta go? We gotta ship out tomorrow. That's not what happened. You gotta ship out tomorrow. That's being a soldier. And I'm a soldier. I'm a rider for my daughter. Again, she didn't ask to be here. None of our children asked to be here. My daughter don't owe me no money because I had her and took care of her. No, she owed me respect. And she owed me two things. She owes me respect and to try her best in life. She got to give me her best, because it's not just me that she's representing. She's representing my grandmother and my grandmother before her. And you're not going to just sit down and give up on life because you lazy or don't give a fuck. No. You ain't gonna do that. Not to them. So that's where the lineage come in. And I preach that to my daughter all the time. She knows who her great-great-grandmother is. And a lot of children are not getting that. And that's another thing that parents need to do, period. But as far as sacrifice, I hear where you're coming from. We got to go where people are. We got to meet people where they are. I know you like me, X. We got to meet people where they are, though. You know what I mean? So we use the word sacrifice. To me, it's being on duty. And you got to know as a parent, especially if you're a single parent, it's all on you, that you don't get to do all the things you want to do. That's what you sign up for. If you want to be a good parent, if you want to have a productive child, if you want to, raise a good kid, you got to know that's what comes with it. So there should be no reason why you should be pissed off and upset. You know what you do, though? You hold it inside, you focus it, and when you go back to court, because that bus is never late, if something's going to happen sooner or later, when you're going to have to take this motherfucker back to court, that's when you exact your revenge, if you will. That's when you let it out. You do it the right way. You do it when it counts. Me yelling at the mom and acting all out and coming down to her level, they ain't fixing nothing. All it's going to do is put me in a situation where she might say something crazy, and then we get into a physical altercation. You feel me? So don't go there. Just get your child, go about your business, man. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. And that's what I've done in many situations. I've had many situations like that with the mom over the years. Many. Some of the stuff that she's done, I can laugh about now because it's so goddamn crazy. But that's what you have to do as a single dad, man. You have to put your boots on, man, and ride for your child. Just like my grandmother rode for me. My grandmother wasn't one of those women that went and did her. She was there in the house every day, every Sunday cooking. Got me in there rolling greens and cutting sweet potatoes with her. Talking to me, telling me stories about her grandmother, about her mom. Passing down, information from the previous generations. Not worrying about what's on TV, watching Scandal for the 15th time, and who's talking about who on Facebook, and who's fucking who, all that dumb shit. Pouring into her grandchildren like she's supposed to. And that's what I want to be. That's what I want to be. I want a strong daughter who turns into a strong woman, who becomes a strong mom, so I could just sit back and pour time and energy into my grandchildren so they know where they come from. And then I could spoil them. You know what I mean? And be a grandpa. That's what I want. So it's important that I raise a good child. So any child that comes through me has to be on that level so I can sit back and be a grandparent and then pass on lineage to the grandchildren. That's the way it's supposed to be, X. Yep. And even if you're in a broken home, you can do this. Even if you're a single mom, you can do this. There's no excuse for that not happening. That's not only happening because you really don't give a shit. You don't care about these children. And I hate to put that all on women, but it is what it is, because right now we have a problem where we over 70% of single motherhood right now, as far as head of households. So most of the children are being raised by them. It just is what it is. So what I would tell brothers that come along and say, look, this is what you got to do. You have to record everything, document everything, so you can go up into these courts. And can I just tell you what I did real quick that I did by mistake when I was younger? Back when the days when my daughter was with the mother, I was doing something that I didn't realize that mattered, and I was establishing myself. Because the mom was so irresponsible, I didn't let her do anything in her name. So, like for instance, when we went to the doctors, I filled out the paperwork. Guess what? The paperwork had my address on it. When we went to get child care providers, I not only paid the child care providers directly, I also filled out the paperwork. So my address is on it. So by the time it came time to go to court, I did what they call established myself. It wasn't hard to say that the child lived with me and was being brought up by me because I had everything in my name. Her school papers were in my name. If I'm paying for it, I would tell brothers, do not give the money to the mom and let her handle your business. That's crazy. If you're paying for it, then go there and handle the paperwork. Period. Get involved. Establish yourself as a parent. You have to. And I did that by accident just because I didn't trust the mom. So by the time when it came time to get to court in 2006, I had all of this paperwork, paper trail. That had my name on it, my daughter's name on it, and my address on it. So, Mom, where's your paperwork? Oh, I got this birth certificate and this thing from the hospital. No. You got anything else that says you're, primary parent? She didn't. And that's really how I got my daughter legally. I handled my business, and I've always been like that. And I try to encourage other brothers to do the same thing. Like I told my man Lindsay the other day, I am the evolution. I watch other black men, good brothers, get raked over the coals. And I said, not me. Not me. And then I got a little ego too. My ego told me, like, look, you might laugh when I say this, but she not gonna work me over, not this one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I hate to say it that way because I ain't trying to be, hiding nobody, but it is what it is. There was no way in the world this one was going to work me over. So I'm real competitive that way. And so, anyway, long story short, man, I established myself in the courts by accident. And I tell brothers all the time, don't give cash to women. Give them a money order. Keep track of everything you do. Keep all your receipts. I got receipts going back to 4 months before my daughter was born at the big Kmart. That's who I am. Put that shit in the shoebox. I know you can do it because you save all your flyers for the strip club in the shoebox. You keep all your videotapes and and videos of your hoes in the shoebox. So do something that matters, brother. You know what I mean? Just document things, keep things, and and keep a record of everything you're doing, and then take charge.
Yeah. Do something that matters. Let me talk to you about this a little bit because this is something I've often said. Those of you who follow the Prophet of Thought series know that I've said this many times. People have asked me, because people always tell me, "Oh man, you guys don't ever come up with any solutions,"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, a guy asked me one time. He said, "So, what do you think the solution to?" all these baby mamas with 5 and 6 and 7 kids. I said, I have a solution for that. I said, the solution to that is men. I said, if a woman has 5 or 6 or 7 kids by 5 or 6 or 7 dudes, and every time she has a baby, a brother takes it away. He takes the baby legally. Okay. He legally takes his baby. All right. Now, she can only have 2. Say she only got 2. She only had 2 or 3. And every time she has a baby, whoever that father is, he takes that baby legal, especially if she ain't living right. Okay. She ain't living right. She in the streets. She getting high. She doing all this kind of shit. She feeding the baby deep fried roaches and all this kind of nonsense. So she ain't living right. Yeah. It's easy for the brother to get. Now, mind you, After that doesn't happen like 2-3 times, old girl gonna think twice before pumping out another baby. Why? Because she knows that she fuck around and pump out another baby, a
Right.
brother might just take the baby away. That's
Right.
why I say men could be the answer to that, because your baby, I'm not telling you to take the other brother's babies, okay? But
Right.
your baby, yours, you should get it. And I have to tell brothers this, because I went through this myself, just like you, brother Jay Sean. For you to be able to get your baby, number one, you got to have your shit together. Okay.
Right.
You got to
Right.
have your own place. You got to have your own money. Your ass need an income. Your ass need to have it together. You know, it probably don't make a lot of sense trying to get the baby while you living in mom's attic and all you got is a couch, a PlayStation, and a little tiny flat screen TV. You
Mhm.
need to have yourself established. So trying to go after that kid is like, that will be you killing two birds with one stone, because see, in order for you to get that child, you're going to have your shit together, man. You're going
Right.
to have your documents in order. You're going to have your receipts. You're going to have a place to live. You're going to have some type of stable income, somewhere safe and warm and good for the child to sleep and stay and eat and be clothed and be housed. And you got to have your shit together first, so it will serve a dual purpose. But I always advise brothers to definitely go and try to get your baby, especially if the mama ain't worth a shit. Because see, like I said before, if you done messed around and stuck your penis in some old hood hoe who ain't worth 2 pennies, I can't be too mad at you about that. But I will take issue with you if you allow her ratchet, broke, ghetto ass to raise your kid around a bunch of drunks, crackheads,
Yeah.
and people who don't give a shit about the kid, including her,
Right.
including her. And she doesn't give a shit about the kid. I will take great issue with that. Um, Folks, you need to be hitting that old like button if you don't mind. I do believe the like button is right down here somewhere. All right. You want to be hitting that. And if you're feeling generous, you might want to be hitting this here Stream Lab link that you see right there. See that right there? Coins in the bucket, likes on the stream. Coins in the bucket, likes on the stream. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just saying. Um, Brother Jay Shine. Now,
Yes, sir.
because your daughter, I assume she's like a teenager now, right?
Yeah, she's 14. She'll be 15
Okay.
or something.
Okay. She's almost 15. So have you found that it has become, are you freer now? Are you able to, date women more? Are you able
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do things more now that she has, grown into a young teenager? Is it easier? Is rearing her easier as a single father now that she's a little older, that she's older?
Well, yes and no. When I bought my house, right? The guy I bought it from the lending place was a white dude, and he found out that I was a single dad. We got into this conversation one day on the phone. So he's at work, I'm at work. He's somewhere in the Midwest. I think he's St. Louis somewhere. And we were on the phone, and he's going through a situation with his wife. He got a daughter too. And he's a white guy. And I told him, I said, dude, man, and it was the best advice. He didn't realize it until I told him about it. When every time I'm in a pretty girl's face, a pretty woman's face, and my daughter's with me, even if I'm at the store, I flirt a lot, I talk a lot of shit. I'm a real charming dude if I want when I want to be. And I like to have a good time. So even if I'm like at a Target or something, and I'm talking to another young lady, my daughter's looking at me. I can see her on my peripheral every time, even when a beautiful woman walks by, and she sees that beautiful woman. My daughter looks at me to see how if I'm looking at her. Now I thought, well, women did this shit because they were, they were, nosy, or they were being, jealous, or what I'm saying. But it's not the case. This is just what women do. When women are around another one man that they look up to, whether it's their father or guy they date, whatever the case might be, they're watching your eye, and how you treat other women. They're watching me. So I say yes because she's older and I get a lot more freedom, and things are a lot more understood, and she understands what's really going on in the world, and it's not that serious for me to be dating somebody nowadays than it would be when she was younger. Um, but she's still watching me and how I deal with those women. Feel me? So it's a gift and a curse. Our young girls watch us. They watch how we treat other women. They watch what we like, and that's why I have to have a no weave zone. If I bring a hair hat in my house, I'm literally telling my daughter that, all right, this is the woman of the house now, and this is what a woman is. You feel me? Everything I do is affirmation. So I gotta be, cognizant of that when I'm dealing with other women around her. Because of that, I don't date that much in front of her, but she has met a couple of ex-girlfriends of mine, and one of them was happened to be a teacher at her school, a librarian and stuff, and she was spending a lot of time hanging out with her, and that situation didn't really work out. But the kid is watching, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I get a lot more time to date. There is light at the end of the tunnel, brothers. But you're still being watched by your mom. I mean, by your daughter, and you still got to be, cognizant of what you're doing around her and in front of her, and how you talk to other women in front of her, and how you deal with other women, because she's looking at that. And I believe, honestly, I do believe that whatever women accept from me and whatever I think is an appropriate way to deal with women and talk to them in front of her is what she might allow other men to do to her. You feel me? So I'm really, aware of how I talk to women in front of my daughter. Even when I'm arguing with women in front of my daughter, how I argue with them, how I talk to them. I talk to women with authority, but I don't disrespect nobody. I won't just call a woman a bitch for no reason to her face and all that crazy stuff. There's no need for that. I can say a lot more things that are a lot more hurtful than the word bitch. Well, you know what I'm saying? To a woman if I
Right.
want to. I'm a lot more creative than that, and just, divulging down to yelling and cursing at a female. So even how I deal with issues, you know, when I'm dealing with women in front of her, I think all that is important. So yeah, there's light at the end of the tunnel, as kids get older, because they got their own lives and they do things and they out and about. Like my daughter be at a dance this Saturday night, and then she wants to do a sleepover. So you see what I'm saying? You know, this gives me another opportunity to, do what I want to do when she's away at her mother's house, or she's old enough to be at the house by herself. So, you know, for like 3 or 4 years, I didn't ride my motorcycles that much because I was always home with a younger kid. But now that she's older, I can go out and ride and leave her at the house because she's big enough to be at the house, and she has a laptop, tablet, Netflix. She can chill at the crib. She got a phone. She's on the phone with her friends. She be on her phone with her friends for hours. So she got things to keep herself busy, at the house. I can go ride for a little bit. So I get more freedom as I get older. I mean, as she gets older, of course. But I'm still always aware that she's still watching. She still watches how I move and how I do things. And I know that sucks for a lot of dudes. You don't want to, straighten up all the time. You want to loosen up, every now and then. But take it as a badge of honor because now you're the standard, for your child. Everything with your child should be honorable. It should be an honor to be whatever it is you need to be for that child. You shouldn't look at it as a weight. You shouldn't look at it as, you know, um, a quote unquote sacrifice. You shouldn't look at it that way. It should always be an honor. I'm honored to be her father. I'm honored to be a father. And I wish we had more parents out there like that. And what I would say to brothers, if the mother is not doing what she's supposed to do and she's not raising your kid appropriately, then you need to go get her. Matter of fact, I take it a step further. I'm not trying to disrespect nobody. I'm not trying to hurt no brother's feelings out there. But I need black men to really feel me in what I'm about to say next. If you're a visiting father and you're paying child support for kids that don't live with you, and you do not get to decide how that money is being spent, in all intents and purposes, you're not a father. That's why you need to step back in. If you can't get custody of your children, then get joint custody with your children. Get more time. If you live in, especially if you live in the same town and you're only a few minutes from the mom, that kid can split time between parents. Do what you have to do. If you can't do this for your child, if you're not willing to stop, do the research, do the homework you need to go to court and do this for your child, then you guess what? You're no different than she is. Because you're putting other things in front of your kid. Go to your job, come home, pay your bills, get on the net, and get a plan together to figure out what you need to do to better your situation as a father. Because I'm telling you right now, if you're paying child support and you have no say in how that money's being spent, for all intents and purposes, you're not a father. And that's real talk. And I know that sucks because we got used to the situation. There's no accountability for child support. And I think child support is a scam and shouldn't exist. That's just my opinion of it. It's a scam. I've literally watched brothers. I had a homeboy, he lived in Northern Virginia. I would ride with him to go pick his daughter up or drop his daughter off at King's Dominion. And the kid was living in Hampton. So that was the meeting point, the halfway point they met at was King's Dominion. I watched this brother give $1,000. One time he gave $4,000 cash in her hand. She still put him in court. Not only that, she's getting child support now. Because she had to go to court and say she wasn't getting child support, now he's paying arrears. And you would think that she would say, all right, well, I just want child support because I just want to, the money comes directly to me and all that. So when the arrears come in, I'll just give you the arrears back. No, that's not what happened. She kept that too. She kept all the money he gave her in cash, lied and said he never paid a dime for the child. So this is what you're going up against, brother. And that's why you got to handle this shit like business. There's too many tender dick niggas out here. They're still having sex with the baby mom and they let a lot of shit slide. And you worried about offending her and all that. I'm saying, yeah, you might offend her. Yeah, you might hurt her feelings. But what's worse? You hurting her feelings for a few seconds or you being disrespected for 18 years? And then how does that affect your child? When you're not the man in your life like you should be. When you're not calling shots and influencing how money is spent.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Isn't that part of it though? I mean, because there's a lack of fathers, tethered to the mothers or not, that lack of male influence and masculine energy is what creates these situations. When you have a society of people where men are second, third, fourth class citizens within said society, you're always going to have these kind of problems. And I think that oftentimes in Black society, man, we like third, fourth class citizen shit. They care about women and children, and they can care less if they are not. They prefer not for us not to be there. This is why they give us so much of a hard time trying to get our children, even when on the face we are probably the better parent and provider. And even after they come and look under the hood, they can still see that we, the outer shell already says that we're the better parent. So when they lift up the hood, they can see that we're the better parent too, but they still want to give you a little bit. Oh, we got to check this out a little further, buddy. You're a man, so we gotta dig a little deeper.
And that's the thing. They don't want to look under her hood. They just want to look under your hood.
Yeah.
That's how that goes,
I mean, at some point, I believe, because I do believe, I'm a true believer, and I said it earlier that I'm a true believer that men are better parents, and I believe that we should do like the I can't remember the name of the tribe now, but there's a tribe on the African continent where the children, especially the male children, What happens is after they have, I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna put it in the description box, y'all. I just can't. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember the name of the tribe. Anyway, when they have the children, when the children gets to be a certain age after the tender years, okay, after they get to be 4 and 5, what happens is they go off and live with the tribe males, and
Right.
they stay there
Yeah.
until they're 12, 13, 14, and they give the children an opportunity to go back, and they say only 2% of those children actually go back and live with the women. The other 98%, they stay. They stay with the male members of the tribe. And I believe that in Black society, if we had a little more of that kind of thing, but see what happens oftentimes is you have children, right?
Yeah.
And especially when have these women that have children by multiple, and we talk about this so much. They have children by multiple guys. So it's almost impossible
Which is
for
disgusting.
all of those children to have their fathers in their lives. When
Impossible. Yeah.
it's impossible when this woman got 4 and 5 different baby daddies.
Yeah.
At least 2 or 3 of them will probably never see the
It's
kids throughout their
chaos,
life.
man. It's absolute chaos.
Yeah. So you have a lot of that going on, and I believe that the women, I think that what we have done, we have conditioned women to sit back and actually believe that the government and or some man is going to come in there and save her and her children. And I think we went about that all wrong throughout the history of Black society, because I believe that we should be persuading and encouraging these women to save their children and save themselves. That's what we should be doing, as opposed to um kind of co-signing somebody gonna come in here and marry you with your 5, 6, 7 kids, because in reality we know that that's not reality. You hear brothers talk about it. You hear brothers talk about, oh man, these brothers should be coming in and marry these women with 5 and 6 kids. Brothers aren't going to do that shit. They're just not. I mean, in a perfect, magical, utopic world, that would happen. But the reality of Black society is that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
You
So
can have 1 or 2 children by one dude and still
yeah,
get wifed up, but you can't have like all
yeah,
these babies.
yeah. You're not getting wifed up if you got 5 and 6 and 7 kids,
That's
man.
why
It's not gonna
Black
happen.
China is dealing with a 19-year-old boy, because you know what I'm saying, there's no man that's going to deal with that dumb shit.
Yeah, I mean, being
It
not
is
going to
what it
do
is.
it.
Same thing with Amber Rose. She out here dealing with younger, dumber dudes.
That's
You know, and
it's just not. Actually, I got a video coming out talking about that, because I believe that Black folks, we are similar to a lion pride. So I'm going to be talking about that. Um I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want to give it away, y'all. But I got a couple. X has a couple old videos in the works for y'all, and I also got some work for you, boy. You know who I'm talking to. You know who I'm talking to. I got some work for you in the works as well. Look for it because it's coming. Yeah. When when we have when we have men like yourself, right? Because you're not the run of the mill rank and file brother. Okay. You're not the run of the mill rank and file brother, because a run of the mill rank and file brother isn't going to go through the steps that you went through, to make sure you got your baby, make sure you went back and forth to the court and fended off the white folks and all that kind of stuff, make sure you had your stuff together and all of that. The rank and file brothers don't really do that. Now, what happens often is that the rank and file brothers just kind of let it go. A lot of the rank and file brothers just kind of let it go. They pay the child support. They do whatever, I guess, to keep the woman out of their hair. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they just go along with it. And a lot of times what gets me, and I'll say this again, I've said it about 4 or 5 times tonight. A lot of times these brothers know that these children aren't being taken care of properly. They know these children aren't being fed properly, housed properly. They know it, man. They know it, and they do nothing. They do nothing because they don't want to pick the kid. They don't want to pick up the responsibility and prioritize the child's life. And I think that that's wrong because you see these situations all over the place, man. And I know a lot of women out there doing the best that they can. I get that. But some of these children are suffering. Some of these children are hungry. Some of these children are getting crappy educations. Some of these children are walking around with their feet and shit hanging out their shoes, heads nappy, face crusty. I mean, this is the stuff you see. And these kids, these brothers know, they know that they have these kids, I would imagine. And they would rather let the kid suffer with their old mama, okay, eating rat heads, all right, and living in squalor, all right, where the kids is breathing in dirt and dust. And, why would you sit back and let that happen to your own child? Okay? Why would you sit back and let that happen, especially if you're in a position to change it? I mean, if you're not in a position to change it, that's one thing. You got to get yourself together so you can get the child together. But if you are a brother that's in position to change the situation for your child, why would you not do it? Why would you not? That's what I don't get. That
I
I will
think it
hold
is.
against brothers.
You think I know? I think I know. I think it's not just that brothers are scared. I think, speaking of black men, I think men in general, we have an innate fear of the court and dealing with the court, because now our ego comes and gets in the way, and we don't want another authority telling us what to do. But I also think socially, there's a lot of game being ran on men. When you do the things that women do, like for instance, say a woman hit you and is destroying your property, and you call the police on her. Oh, that was some bitch ass shit. Why you call the police? What kind of man calls the police on a woman? You see what I'm saying? It's that kind of stuff. Same thing when we go to court. What kind of man does this? Matter of fact, I'll give you an example. Remember, I think it was a video I saw of Wendy Williams, and she did this shit twice. She did it to Usher, and she did it to Ludacris. What kind of man takes a child away from a mother? And I'm looking at this bitch like, are you serious? Like, he doesn't have a right to his child? What kind of man? A father would. The father, he has rights. But they don't see it that way. So we have a society that does not see us as having rights, and we get shamed for doing exactly what they do. So recently, I heard they're trying to pass a law where even if you're in a marriage and if you're bullying your wife, causing, verbal bullying to your wife, you can be, prosecuted for that. And I say, okay, fine, I'll be a huckleberry. Let's play that game then. What men need to start doing is recording her spazzing out in the house, telling you ain't shit, cussing you out, throwing stuff. Record all that. And you put charges on her. We got to start playing the game. It's not unmanly to go to the court and take care of your business. Because at the end of the day, you're doing it for your children. It's not about you. If you make it about you, then guess what you're doing? You're doing the same thing that she's doing, making it about her. And if you jump out there in front of yourself and say, "Hey, that's not manly to do, to go to the courthouse and file paperwork and petition this and all that. That's not manly," then you're an idiot and you get what you deserve. You understand? If you're going to look, it is what it is. We don't have the power legally, politically, to change our situation. So you're going to have to play the game. And I say play to win. Play to win. Go get, at minimum, you should have joint custody of your child. At minimum. It's not hard to do. It's really not. Do some homework. Talk to a brother like me. We'll tell you what to do. Most states are similar in their laws. You have rights. Now, there's some states that's harder, like California or Maryland, where they just don't give a shit about a man, period. But there are states that, are, like I live in Virginia. They do give you paternal rights in Virginia. You get fraternal rights here, so you can go file paperwork and get heard. And because of how their laws are written here, if you just do the paperwork, see what they want to do is that they have rules on here that can benefit you, but because they know that most men don't do it, and women are quicker to do it, then automatically it leans towards women because women are quicker to go drop paperwork on your ass than they are. I'm gonna tell you something that's even more interesting. There are more women support groups for single men than they are for men. What I mean by that is this: not the last time with the court, a year and a half ago when I went to court with my daughter's mother, she had a court-appointed attorney. Not a court-appointed attorney. Excuse me. She had there was a women's support group that supported single mothers. So even though she didn't have physical custody, she had a lawyer there for her. And that group and that service is only for mothers. It wasn't for fathers. So the services that they have out here, that if you go to some of these courthouses, they got pamphlets sitting there and all that. All these support groups and these support services are for women. They're not for the primary parent. The pamphlet doesn't say that. It says mothers or single mother. You know what I mean? It's for women. So there's support for women built into the system already. When I'm walking in as the person that's raising the kid, doing all the doctor's appointments, doing all the school shit, doing all the checking, all the homework, talking to the teachers, dealing with the kids' behavior. I'm the one doing all of that. But she gets the lawyer. There's a support group there for her to get a lawyer. This is what we're up against as fathers. You know what I mean? So the only way that's going to change is if men engage into the system. You have to engage the system. You got to get over this macho nonsense of not dealing with the system. The system's going to deal with you regardless, dude. She got your address. She got your name. You're done. She's going to put paperwork on you, fam. There's nothing you can do about it. So what you might as well get in and engage and stand up for yourself. And most importantly, do what's in the best interest of the child. Because if you have more rights and you have more say for that child, then you can, influence and have more responsibility what happens to that child. And you can't do that without engaging. You can't just walk into the courtroom and let these fools do what they want to do with you. That's hoe shit, if you ask me. You're being a hoe. You're being a punk. You're laying down. Pick up your God arm, pick up your sword, and go in there and handle your business. Do it for your children. It's not about you, fam. If you thinking you macho and it's some female shit and some bitch ass shit to be doing, then guess what? They're gonna just handle you.
Yep.
They're gonna just have their way with you.
If you allow them to do whatever they want, that's what they're going to do.
Exactly.
Do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for showing up, sir. Here you go. Here's your new order. You'll be paying mom this month, and you'll get this time with mom. You know what I'm saying? You ain't influenced nothing. Go in there and file for visitation.
Yep.
Go and file for reductions. Bring your paperwork. Yep. Get things, arranged the way you want. Force them to make you go to mediation.
Yep.
Make her take off work.
Yep. Show up.
Show up. When you go to the court, I'm going to tell you something else. This might sound fucked up, but it is what it is. When you file that paperwork and she got to show up to court, she got to show up to court, man.
Yep.
She got to take off, baby, take off work too. Yep. And they don't want to take off work like that. And you keep doing it to them until they say, you know what? All right. Fine.
Yep.
You engage. You give them what they want. They want to play the court things. Fine. Show up. Be their huckleberry.
Yep. Don't sit back and just let them do anything, man, to you. I mean, because you have to, if you're not going to do it on the strength of it's the right thing to do, man, do it for your kid. I mean, you got to be, see what it is with men. See, a lot of times, brothers, they're afraid of taking that L. They're so scared they're going to lose. But you have to be willing to take the L, man. That's what life is about.
You got nothing to lose, man. Yeah, you're gonna lose if you don't engage. They're gonna just do what they're gonna do to you.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say you're gonna lose if you don't show up, if you don't do what you have to do, if you don't stand up for your kid. That's when you really lose, man. You can't lose by doing this because guess what? Anything if you show up and you go to court, man, and you press the issue and you get visitation and you do all these things, man, you modify that damn child support. You do all these things, man. You showing presence. You leaving a trail, man. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. That matters. It all matters.
It adds up.
It all matters.
And it's like a bully. The system is going to bully you.
Yes.
But a bully doesn't want a hard win. You know what I'm saying? My mentality is this. Y'all can jump me every day, but y'all gonna walk away with a scratch on your face. You're gonna walk away with a black eye. You're gonna walk away with a busted lip. All right, you might win, but you're gonna walk away. You're gonna take this with you. And and that's how you got to deal with bullies. And that's what the system is doing. It's bullying you. And then the sad thing about it is that our women would portray us this way. It's a betrayal. You don't reward a betrayal with laying down. What kind of man are you? You just been betrayed. You lay down with this woman, had a baby, and then she's turning you over to the system to get what she can out of you, to get her way. So at that point in time, you shouldn't give a fuck about her feelings. So I talked to a lot of brothers about this, and they like, but I don't want to go through. I don't want to do that to her. Like, dude, you sound crazy. She's doing it to you.
Don't take it.
We've been socialized to lay down in our society, and anytime you speak up against a certain situation or a quote unquote against women, then you're a bad dude. You're not a bad dude, man. You fighting for your children. You have a right to. You shouldn't care what nobody think.
Very true. Very
true. There was something else I wanted to bring up, and that was the child support thing. And I just want to educate the brothers on how that works. And that's why I always tell brothers at least get joint custody. See, the way child support works in most states is a calculation. And our calculation is based on how much time the child spends with the primary parent that's getting child support. So the amount you pay is not just based on your income versus her income. It's based on how much time the kid is with the mom. So out of 365, the kid is spending 300 of those days with the mom. That factors into that calculation. If you change that and make it 180 days, you see what I'm saying? That changes your child support drastically. The only thing weighing on your child support now is based on who makes more money. And again, that's based on how much that is. You see what I'm saying? If the woman is making $150,000 a year and you making $80,000 a year, their child support is not going to be that much, especially if you got half the time with the child. So you have to get into the nitty gritty of this and just get the forms. Every state has this on their websites. You go to the juvenile domestic relations court in your state, go to their website and figure out what that paperwork looks like. Get a copy of the calculation form, and then try to find out what she makes. And if you got a good idea what she makes, estimate up to the nearest dollar, and you fill in the blanks how much she makes, how much child care costs, how much healthcare costs. All that goes into that calculation. You know what I'm saying? And it helps when you take care of certain things. For instance, whether my daughter was with me or not, her insurance would have came through me. So that's one less thing that the mother's paying for. That's one less thing that she gets out of my child support. You understand? So this is how child support works. And this is how you can knock your numbers down and get it more equitable and more fair. You shouldn't be paying for this woman's lifestyle. That's not what child support is supposed to be for. But that's what a lot of y'all are doing. And it needs to stop. So all this takes is about handling your business. If you're a hustler and you hugging the block and all that, and if you running the streets and running from town to town and handling your so-called business, then you should be handling this too like business. It's business. It's business for the courts, and it's business for the moms. And then there's ancillary business. Ancillary business is the money that the mothers spend outside the home. Once they get your money, as soon as they get your money, they run to Target, they run to Applebee's, they run to get the hair done, they run to, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's getting money off of you, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody eating off of you.
Think about that.
I don't understand how you can step back and let that happen. I don't understand how you can lay down and let that happen. And it was weird, X, is that when I talked to brothers about this, when they first bucked back about, not doing all of this and I'm not doing all that, they sound real tough. They real bossy about it. I'm like, dude, you laying down, they having their way with you. You're not a boss. Boss up and jump in that arena, man, and fight back. And if you lose, at least you walk away with less damage than
Exactly.
you would have if they just do what they want to do to you.
I've told brothers, Koreans are sending their kids to college on your money.
Yeah,
Yeah, they said the Asians are sending their kids to college on your money. Cause see,
coming up.
you paying that child support, she running right to their damn hair shop, buying
Mm-hmm.
weave, eyelashes, fake fingernails, all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Hair products, all kinds of
Yeah,
shit, man.
yeah. The
You know
Asians,
what I mean?
they sending their kids to they're sending their kids to universities on your money, brothers.
It is
That's
what even
that's what's
deep
happening.
about it. What's even deep about it is that a lot of those products that they selling to the sisters are cheaper than the real products that were made by black people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they bootlegging our shit. You know, so it's crazy what's going on right now, man. And that's why I'm saying that being a single dad and taking responsibility for your children, all of this touches all of that. It touches the economics of our community because now you have more control of how the money's being spent. And I hate to bring it back to money, but that's what rules the world. For like that's why I say, for all intents and purposes, you're not being a father or a leader because if your money's just being taken from you, you have no say on how that money's being spent, and then everybody's eating off of you. I can't call myself a man and just sit back and allow that to happen. Now, if it happens because I lose, then fuck it. Then it is what it is. But you can't not try. You cannot go. You know what I mean? You cannot just sit back and do nothing. You got to control that family. You got to go in there and get your paper right and make sure that your money's being spent on your kids first. You know what I mean? And whatever you got to do in the courts to see them and get your money right as far as child support goes, then you got it. Then you go do that. Put the matting down, put the fire stick down, put the hose down, and go take care of your business. Because if you don't, it's going to take care of you.
Yep. I mean, and brothers have to learn to understand that, man. I think a big problem is that lack of that education, knowing what to do, how to do it, where to go, what forms to get, how to press forward, how to, they don't. I think a lot of brothers just don't understand it because they're not educated in the process. So they just kind of let the process roll over them, you
Right.
know. I
It's
think
about
they,
focus, man. It's about
yeah,
focus. Because
it rolled
black
over.
men are too creative not to figure this out. It's just about focus. They're not focused on the right thing. And again, socially, we get shitted on for doing certain things. Like I said, Ludacris and Usher are positive brothers making good music, and then women were shitting on them for just even petitioning for support. Oh, it's because they got money. See what they do to women. They didn't even look at the facts of the case. They didn't even
Yeah.
care about the children and a better living situation for the children. They started circling the wagons, and then come to find out, Ludacris' baby mama was a serial baby mama who lost children before, and then Usher's baby mama was a fucking nut. You know, They didn't even care about the children. It was all about supporting, another woman or going against a brother. And this is what we got to go against. Now, again, if you know that's the situation that we live in, you should expect that and handle it accordingly. You shouldn't, you shouldn't shy from that. This is what it is. Stop crying about it, brother. Stop bitching and moaning, man. Stop being soft.
Yeah.
Meet the
Stop.
challenge. It's again, if you're doing it for your children, it's not even to me. It's not even hard, X. It's not even hard for me to figure this out, man, because it's not even like I'm doing it to be vindictive or facetious. I'm doing it because it's for my child and to be I want to be a father. This is my child. So I'm going to do what I can to be there as much as I can, any way I can. And if that means I just get, visitation or I just get a little joint custody, then so be it. If that's all you can get out of that orange, if that's the best you can squeeze out of that, then so be it. But you never know. Based on your information and you keeping tabs on certain situations and keeping records of things, the judge might say, you know what? I think the child will be better off with the father. You know what I'm saying? There are people come into court on your behalf and say, yeah, I saw the mother do X, Y, Z, and you bring your character witnesses out. You never know what's going to happen in that courtroom. But I know what's going to happen if you don't go in there prepared. If you don't go in there fighting, she's going to get everything that she wants.
Yep.
And everything she wants is tied to your bank account. and controlling that situation. Because that's really what it's about. It's about the money and it's about control.
No. You're gonna be on the business end of some bullshit.
Yep.
I mean, I think we need to, at the very least, brothers need to give it the old Boy Scout try. If nothing else, you never know how it'll turn out. But you know, like you said, you know exactly how it's going to turn out if you do nothing.
Right.
Nothing. It's going to turn out to nothing if you do nothing. Um, Let me just ask you about this because we come around to the end of the show. Being that you are the primary parent of your daughter now, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what is your plans for your little girl? Like, do you or should I say what is her plans for herself, being that she's been influenced by you, you know, a strong brother who understands shit and got his shit together. I
Yeah.
mean, are you gonna make sure she goes to college? Does she want to grow up to be something else? What's the, you know, what are you looking forward to as a single father, I should say, as she grows? Because now she's, you know, 14, 15. What do you look forward to?
Well, me and my family, we're getting together. My mom and stepfather, a couple of my siblings and step siblings, and we're buying a property right now. You know, and we're gonna try to make it into a family business. So at some point, I'm molding her to come into that because my daughter actually wants to be a businesswoman. You know what I mean? She wants to handle money and run things. So she's going to be a little entrepreneur. But if she's not, faring well out there and she don't want to go out into the world, then she can run some of the family businesses. I have a business. Then we're going to have the family, real estate thing that we're putting together, and that's a pass down. That's for my younger sisters, my daughter. They're gonna have to take that shit over at some point. You know what I mean? Right now it's me and my stepfather. And but at some point they're gonna have to start getting their feet wet in the game and handling business. But yeah, she's gonna go to college. We're gonna get her into some good schools, so she can learn as much as she can. Not gonna break the bank. There's a smart way of doing it. I was actually talking to a old white couple in a hospital about this, and they was telling me if they had to do it all over again, they would have sent their children to a 2-year college or community college, a real good community college, and then transferred them later. And that's what a lot of people are doing to stay out of debt. You go to a community college or a real good 2-year school. You maximize your potential and your grades at that level, and then you transfer to a George Washington or a George Mason or a Georgetown or something like that. And then you finish up your degree. And hopefully, if you get real good grades and you apply yourself, and if you're athletic, you can even get some partial scholarships. So, and then I'm a veteran too. So there's a lot of veteran money there. There's a lot of, assistance, with the GI Bill and stuff I can pass down to my daughter. So she's definitely going to school and she's going to do her thing. Right now, I'm actually looking at a position in Germany and she's going to come with me. So she's going to get to experience Germany. They got a lot of educational programs over there for American students and she's going to get a real life experience. I'm going to just do the best I can to give as much as I can while I can, and it's really up to her to apply herself and to take advantage of it. But I'm blessed to be in a position to do that for my child. A lot of people can't do that. There are a lot of people in the hood, and there's a lot of men out there who don't make the type of money I make or have, the foresight that I have or know the people that I know to give certain things to their child. They have internships. I'm right here in DC, so I know people who are congressional liaisons. You know what I mean? So you know, if my daughter wants an internship at Capitol Hill, I can get her in there. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me being, you know, a mover and shaker and getting to know people in the area and knowing who's who and building my relationships. But that's the thing. And that's the difference between me and other parents. See, I'm doing it so that there could be a situation for my child coming up. It's not just about myself. It's not just about me. A lot of people like to get connections so they can maximize their fun, their opportunities, so they can jet set and have fun and have a position where they can control something and have some kind of status. I'm not doing it for that. I meet people to see if there's an opportunity from in the future to get my daughter on, get a family member on, get a friend on, get a brother or sister on. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about networking for that reason. If I don't know how to do something, I know somebody who does. And And that's what I'm gonna pass on to my daughter. Everything that I know, all the people that I know. So whatever she wants to do in life, I'm gonna carve her out an avenue. Right now, she wants to be a businesswoman. She also likes fashion and she likes to travel. So she could be the next Anthony Bourdain. You know what I mean? For all I know, she could be the next person with a show like that travels around the world and eats different foods and what I mean. She can make a business out of it. But I just press upon my daughter to be business minded and not to be employee minded, and definitely not to be welfare minded. Always be in a position to have your own, create fuck you money, save your paper, stop being a consumer, be smart, and go out here and live your life to the fullest, man. But you gotta prepare for that. You can't you're gonna struggle more if you play now. If you work now, you'll play harder later. This is what I sold my daughter. I told my daughter she's gonna have way more fun in her 20s hanging out with a certain class of people. She's gonna have way more fun in her 20s than she will right now in junior high school or high school. This shit is nothing compared to the fun you're gonna have when you're a grown woman with no worries. You have your own condo and you have a career in your 20s and you got money in the bank and the guys that you know got paper. You know what I'm saying? And the other friends got things going on for themselves. That's when you're gonna have real fun, real experiences. And so mentally, financially, and of course physically, I'm setting her up for success. My daughter's healthy, she's smart, and I really am proud of the person that she's grown into. I'm proud of her. She's good people. She has a good heart, and the sky's the limit for her.
It's good, man. And we all know it's all due to you. We know that. You ain't gonna say it, but god damn it, I'm gonna say it. God damn it, I'm saying it.
Doing my job, brother.
I know, brother. Um, I want to thank you, man, for coming on tonight, man. I really appreciate it, man. I enjoyed this, man. I actually enjoyed sitting here listening to you because you said so many things that I can actually relate to because I went through similar stuff. So, it
Yeah.
was like it was really, really good, man, to sit here and listen to you, brother Jay Sean, man. And you as always, you dropped some jewels on the brothers. So I hope your black asses was listening. Okay, you should have been writing some.
Hopefully catch the playback, man.
Yeah. You should have been writing some of this stuff down. I keep telling y'all that. Should have been writing some of it down. Um, Make sure y'all go ahead and hit some of these likes here. And if you're feeling generous, put some coins in the bucket right here, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Hey, can I say one last thing?
Go ahead, brother.
I just want to say one last thing before I go. We are the evolution, brother. We are the evolution. All right. We've been dealing with the situation for about 50 years, 50 plus years now, since the 60s, and it's not going to get any better. And if the women want to fix it, they would have done it by now.
Exactly.
All right. So we're going to have to learn penis discipline, and we're going to have to get on duty. It's time to get on post, brothers. And like I always say, and this is my saying, and I tell brothers all the time, business is life, and life is business. So handle yours.
Are you listening, people? Are you listening? You better be, because I don't like people who follow me that don't listen and pay attention to good shit. Once again, I want to thank the brother Jay Shine, and I want to tell y'all to make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this here channel. Also, make sure you stop by Prophet of Thought Series on Facebook. That's Prophet of Thought Series on Facebook. Like the channel, follow the channel. There's always some good stuff on there. And also make sure you stop by the T.P.O.T bandwagon page. Go ahead and send a friend. We'll click you right back quick. And make sure you stop by the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page on Facebook as well. The membership is rising. I think we're close to 3,000 now. So it's getting good. There's always some stuff on there, not just my stuff, because other people post other things there. Go ahead, get up on there, the Proper Thought Series fan group page on Facebook. Request to be a member. I'll make sure you get in there right quick, because if not, I will jump down my admin's throats because they already know what it is. Also, make sure you check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's Proper Thought on Instagram. And check us out on Twitter. That's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. That's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. I tell y'all every week, follow us on Twitter. I'm going to haunt you in your damn sleep, and I mean it. Make sure you have your black behinds here tomorrow, because tomorrow the Unicorn 4 will be right here, live and direct. Lady Cats, Lady Ming, Lady Kendra, Lady Classic, T.L.O.T, the Ladies of Thought. And tomorrow we're going to have some fun, because y'all know I'm always firing questions at the ladies. Tomorrow they get to fire some questions at me. Whatever they ask tomorrow, I'm going to answer. So y'all know we're going to have some fun, because y'all know X always talks shit. So, but I'm going to answer the questions honestly, and I'm a BB. So, you know, you might not want the kids watching tomorrow. Just a suggestion. You may not want the kids watching tomorrow. So make sure you have your black behinds here tomorrow for the old TLOT Unicorn 4 broadcast right here, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. Once again, I want to thank my guest of honor, Brother Jay Sean, and I also want to thank you for showing up tonight. I want to thank my moderators and everybody else in the chat room who decided to spend some time with us tonight. Make sure you stop by the website as well. It's www.don'teventreit.wikifoundry.com. That's www.don'teventreit.wikifoundry.com. It's some good stuff going on there too. You can also see the Unicorn 4 there as well. So with that, I will leave you with 3 words, like I always do. Open your minds. And we are out of here, y'all.
The Prophet of Thought series.
Peace.
Peace, folks.
Open your mind. Prophet of Thought series. Open your mind. Prophet of Thought series.
Only from T.P.O.T Media. Open